show. Sim is in China at the moment, so he will not be attending today. But of course, we've got the rest of the team here. We've got Matt and we've got Dorian as well. And we've also got the brand owner of what we're discussing today. Now, we've been given a very tricky one in terms of to optimize. So it's a bandana. Bearing in mind I'm nearly 50, bandanas are not my thing and I'm not a biker, but it's actually back in fashion because by the time we've done some research, a lot of the fashion magazine, Cosmopolitan, etc., have been expressing it. And one of my things was, and I said to the group, and Marinda, you're here, and this isn't anything personal. I'm like, what the fuck are we going to do with this one?
Yeah.
Just didn't know what to do. So what I've done is just gone out on a limb, and I want to talk about images later. And the boys will obviously do what they do best as well. And then, of course, we've got Marinda here to step up and have a chat in a moment. But first, Dorian, do you want to run through what you guys have been doing?
Yeah, truth be told, you surprised me on WhatsApp with the product. That was a bit of a shock. It's definitely a tricky one, but we love challenges. We are up, you know, the show wouldn't be fun if everything was easy, and this is one of those where we said yes to, and I'm excited. And you know, we'll from my perspective, I'm not joking. I've spent on it the last 12 hours trying to figure out what we could possibly do differently. So I have a lot of ideas. I ran some ideas by Matt. Matt obviously is here the expert in testing, so he'll probably validate some of my ideas, and either we'll see whether they're good or rubbish. So at the end of the day, it's all about coming up with hypotheses, and we'll probably have a lot of hypotheses for you today, Maninder, and you know, your job will be then to implement it and test it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Matt, I did mute your mic because of the tapping in the background. Let's start with you. Just give us a bit of a background on what you've been working on, Matt.
Yeah, totally. So basically, I like to always start with a baseline. So just trying to figure out like where you sit with the closest competitors. So let me actually bring it up right here. Let's see if I have it. Yep. So I just kind of arbitrarily chose some of the competitors, also based in the UK. And interestingly enough, the listing that you have, it was winning. Like a lot of people are clicking it, and it won, but it didn't win by like a huge margin because it feels like a lot of the listings were somewhat. Like you look at it, and if you look at all these really quick, it pretty much feels like a lot of them are the same, especially the layouts. What was interesting to me though was this one's actually by Levi's, right? So like very well-known, respected brand, and it didn't do well at all. And typically when you have a brand name, it kind of like overshadows anything else that you're trying to do. But in this case, there was no brand loyalty to Levi's. So with that being said, with it winning, I mean, that's great, but there's always room for improvement. So we took some of the ideas, some of the feedback that we got from real shoppers here, and then we were trying to figure out like what's important to them, what are the objections, and come up with more concepts. So maybe it makes sense for Dorian to kind of go over some of the concepts that he created, and then we can go back into some of the concepts that we ended up testing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Dorian?
Yeah, sounds good. Do you want me to kick off, Danny, or do you want to?
Yeah, go on. You kick off.
Okay, cool. Hopefully I won't be embarrassed. So, Maninder, you gave me a lot of work with this product, a lot. I literally finished 10 minutes ago. I was trying to figure out what to do with it. I used all my tools, all my knowledge. I even built some new ones because I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna do with the red bandana. Okay.
I thought same when we launched it. I thought, oh, why are we doing it? But then we found a way somehow. It took us a long time to actually turn this. If you see the price as well, we are probably the most expensive in terms of the competitors if you look at.
Gotcha. Okay, so I started with an analysis. Started with an analysis trying to understand the main. When I look at improving conversions and click-through rate. Okay, so in terms of click-through rate, we have the main image which steals the attention on the search page, which we're gonna get to in a moment. But in terms of conversions, what I like to see usually what are the main purchase barriers, questions, and then how do people actually use it. So I want to, first of all, I want to know who's your audience. So in this case, we're looking at probably around millennials, so someone like me or my wife. In terms of usage patterns, we have, headwear, neckwear, pretty simple stuff, versatile and affordable accessory, occasional use, or completing outfits. So it's whether very practical as a practical item or as a fashion accessory. Okay, so really versatile users. And the purchase barriers, quality concerns, obviously that's the main thing. Uncertainty about the actual size, limited brand recognition. So quite interesting here information. So I usually start with that, trying to understand and obviously look at competition, who's out there, what they're doing, are they doing anything different, and is your product different than others? But in that case, they're all pretty similar. Let's be honest. So how can we stand out? That's the main goal, right? How can we stand out? So let me share another screen. Chrome. Okay, so let's go to some ideas. Main images. Oh my goodness. I think I've generated like 1,000 of them. I was trying to figure out how to stand out, and I was struggling to figure out how. I have some ideas here which I want to run through, but I was trying to figure out how we can stand out. So I actually build a new tool just for this, just to generate images and trying to see how we can stand out on the search page. So I generated a ton of images, trying to understand, okay, how can we stand out? What I like to do for everyone here, I like to do a squint test. So when I'm looking at ideas for new main images, I like to squint my eyes and see if they pop. Are they different? Is there a little bit more depth? Do they pop? So I usually, with my team, when we work on main images, we just generate a lot of concepts. Start with concepts, and then literally squint your eyes and see, okay, is this popping? Is this popping? Is this popping? And some of these are interesting. So there's a lot of, you obviously styled your main image in a specific way. So this is your original main image. But there's so many tricks we can use in terms of main images. We all know this: packaging, tags. So we need to figure out what can we do. And what was drawing a lot of my attention? Where is it? Because one of the things we missing is branding. So a lot of times what kind of was popping out for me is this, cowboy, authentic cowboy, authentic Western. So I like this. You know why I like this? Because it gives it a little bit of character. I was like, oh, this is interesting. We're going somewhere because we're giving it a little bit more depth to the product. So I just generated a ton of images and just trying to understand, okay, how do they look on the search page? And I'll send you all of these. And what I also did is I sent them to Matt. So Matt actually tested some of those concepts so we can see if there's potential in any of them. But as you can see, I was figuring out, okay, can we do any of those tricks, tags? Can we do?
Yeah, I think, but in clothing, sometimes most of the times, in fact, Amazon just don't like hang tag or the packaging. They just, we haven't tested with this product, but we used to have like some products with a gift box, but I think they just don't like it in clothing sometimes. But it's worth testing, I think.
Yeah, definitely worth testing. And what I also like, because I know you have multiple colors, so one good strategy is to display the colors on the with the red one, so people know, okay, there's more than the red. Okay, so you give them an idea that they have a selection to choose from. So that's one strategy that you could potentially test. Show different colors. But that's the main thing that I would probably differentiation. Tags maybe not, but if we can do tags, if we can do packaging, let's play around maybe with how we display the other colors in a creative manner. So that's what I was trying to understand in terms of main image. And then I looked at the listing. Okay, so in terms of a listing, I think we talked about this being for millennials, demographic like myself, and what I think is important is again, purchase barriers. So we're talking about quality because that was the main concern. So we talk about the cotton made in India because that usually corresponds to high quality. And then the size, something around the coverage, because people are concerned about the size. So showing it visually how it looks. Then obviously how versatile it is. So showing different ways how people can wear it. Then something about durability. People a lot of times are concerned: is this breathable? Will this will I sweat actually more? But your product is actually made out of cotton, so we can reinforce this message. Yeah. One thing that also saw the good, how to maintain it. Some people were complaining about colors being vivid, but then after washes they kind of wash out. So we can reinforce this message and reassure people. And then color selection. So that's I'll make the listing fairly simple and just look at the purchase barriers and usage patterns and who's buying your product, and just start talking to them and reassuring them that this is a good purchase, that this is a quality brand, this is the right size, it will last you long, you will not sweat in this. Very, very simple. So I think that's the way to go in terms of the listing. But that's just a hypothesis. I might be wrong, and I'm wrong, sometimes. And then in terms of A+, you're looking at millennials, so something hip. I looked at, Danny probably is going to show you, he generated some cool images, but you're talking to millennials. So imagine how they use, and as I said, they use it in two different ways. They use it as actually something that's for a specific use, right? So whether they're hiking or they have to cover the mouth or head, or they use it as an accessory. So talk about this, accessory, but also functional aspect of the product. So that's what I would do. I would just have fun with it. But before you do that, I would try to come up with a killer main image. And what I like about this main image, this kind of, you already have a good styling, which has a lot of depth to it. Create more depth, potentially add colors, maybe experiment with the tag, maybe experiment with the pack. I'm not sure. Sometimes, Amazon can be tricky, but maybe you can get away with it. So a lot of ideas here. Matt tested some of those. I will send this to you. And if you want to have fun with it, what I like doing is, simply I'll give you access, and you can just simply play around with the main images, and just what I like to do is send a screenshot or to the chat assistant and say, okay, how can we stand out a little bit more, come up with more ideas, and then I look at search page, squint my eyes and see, okay, which one of these is filling the frame, has depth, it's popping, it's different, and just test them. And Matt is going to give us some insights into that. So that's my strategy. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. As you said, I think tags we haven't tested recently, but I think last year Amazon was quite specific. I think they've been like in clothing, we have seen from I'm selling on Amazon nearly 20 years now. So I think clothing been always tricky category in terms of the images. But we have tried sometimes it can work. So I think it's worth what you said is once I have this what you created, then maybe we can just do like A/B test. And sometimes we have seen the direct upload doesn't work. Maybe we just put it in an experiment and then see how it goes, and then take it from there.
Yeah, and here's a trick for everyone. So a lot of times when you upload images that are on the verge of being, within the TOS, when you upload it directly, the algorithm is actually a little bit more aggressive. So a
Yeah,
lot of the
yeah, that's what I'm
times,
saying. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the times, it's a tip for everyone. A lot of times, if your image is on the verge of being within the TOS, or you think you might not get through, upload it through Manage Experiment, run it as an experiment, and see if it's better. And because the algorithm in Manage Experiment is actually a little bit more, it's not as aggressive.
That's correct. Yeah.
And if it wins, you can also set it so that it automatically updates the listing with the
Yeah.
winner, and then
Yeah, I think
Exactly.
that's
it goes by. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm planning to do after I have all this input. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Cool.
it's a fun product to play with AI, honestly. So looking forward to what Danny's going to show, because it's a really fun product to work with AI. In terms of main image, you probably have to have it. I would test the concept, see which concepts are winning, and then probably send it to a photographer to style it, because you want to make sure that the pattern is right, and AI
Yeah.
can a little bit mess this up. And based on the concept, then develop the final image. Actually, photography in fashion, real photography is actually quite important,
Yeah, that's
to make
correct.
sure to for people to see the actual color. Color needs to be correct in the images. On point. The pattern needs to be on point. The sizing needs to be on point, because then you get bad reviews or returns, and you don't want that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so yeah, we will do that. I think it's we will try to do the experiment in Amazon and then see if Amazon allows us to upload the images with the packaging or the hang tag.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and something that, just speaking to color as well too, and I'll share the results of testing some of these main image. Actually, let me bring that up now. But I was surprised just how picky people are with color. So they would say like, "Oh, this shade of red is too dark. It's too light. It's this. It's that." But it makes sense, I guess. Like anything in fashion, like my wife actually used to work with dresses for bridesmaids, and people would actually want to match the Pantone color of like a color card swap to match the dress, just so that the wedding was everything was perfect. So makes a lot of sense with what Dorian's saying with like photography, or just tweaking the colors on screen to make sure that it matches precisely what people are looking for. Yeah. So yeah, so what we would do too here is we'll upload the product right inside of Product Pinion, and then something new that we have is also just seeing like all the images and kind of seeing how they compare to the competitors. So you can kind of like point out any gaps right there, so you can see what other people are doing, and kind of like these are kind of wild as well too, with the face painting, that sort of thing, just to see where there's maybe opportunity of something that you're missing, or opportunity for something else that you can make better. Blows my mind how bad Levi's listing is, but hey, that's them. So once we have this, like I said, we would do that baseline, and the baseline image test is actually a simulation as well too. So similar to what Dorian was sharing, where it actually looks like people are shopping on Amazon. So with this, they'll see the pricing, they'll see the colors, they'll see the titles, the reviews, all the things that they can choose from. So what was interesting to me is that even though yours was on the more expensive side, without the brand name, you still got picked highest with the baseline. So it tells me it's potential that you could actually raise your price a little bit more, because my guess is the margins on this are
Very
very,
less.
very
Yeah,
thin.
that's correct. I mean, I don't think all those guys are making any money, honestly,
Yeah.
because I mean, we've been selling this from nearly year and a half or 2 years, I think now. But yeah, I mean, it was a tricky product, the one I did not personally wanted to launch, but somehow we launched, and I think I think it took us like 6 months playing with pricing, images, um, and I think we used to lay out square like the people on top. We
Mm,
were the first. We were the first one who then started this tie sort of thing where it is tied like it is now,
mm,
and I think that helped us a lot at that time by changing just from the square image to the one which is styled and has a little depth. um, and after that, I think we lost a lot of money when we launched this product. Now it is okay. But you are right. I think maybe it's worth testing to push the price up a little bit more as well.
Yeah, and I love that that's how your thought process is. It's like everybody's doing this, so we're gonna do pattern interruption. How do we like stand out, and then just style it differently. And then obviously, like, then the competitors start copying you, and then it's time for the next phase of how to like stand out in the search results.
Yeah, but many competitors run away once they start losing money for 9 to 12 months.
That's true
I
too.
think, I think it's very hard to imagine that you will ever turn a profit on this product. So, I think it's one of those products, as you said, it is quite popular and trendy, but it's very hard to make any profit on this one.
Fair. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the other point to this though too, I mean the Levi's one is like what is it? Three times it's here it's showing in dollars, but we actually did do the test in the UK with pounds, but yeah, it's like or double the price too. So I feel like there's some potential opportunity
Yeah, definitely. I think
there.
that is a good point. It's worth testing.
Because
Yeah.
usually anything with the brand name just kind of takes off. So
Yeah.
once we did this baseline, right? So now we figured out, okay, we're kind of marginally winning here. Let's test some of the concepts. So grab some of these that Dorian had. This was my personal favorite, just the 100% cotton. Noted
Yeah.
that, yeah, you might have some issues with the tag or the packaging, but again, there's ways to get it pushed through. There was also this image, which was interesting, just showing subtly showing the use case with some ghost kind of models here. This one
Yeah.
probably would have some hard time getting through, but interesting nonetheless. Yeah, the swatches make a lot of sense. This one should actually be pretty easy to get through. Similar idea here with the layout. I also wanted to throw an image like this. I guess the clarity on this one wasn't so great, but a lot of times you add any human element, it gets a huge pickup because people see exactly how it looks on them. Is this
Yeah,
something
but
that you've seen?
it's a unisex product, so there is
Hmm.
always it's a tricky to like use any particular image, male or female. I think for a unisex clothing product, usually just having a product, I would say tag and those boxes which you suggested are really good ideas to try out.
Yeah. Or even like this, maybe even having a composition where it's like a man and a woman back to back. They're both wearing it on the
Yeah,
neck. One has
yeah.
it on the
Or
neck, one has it
use
on the head.
or you use the ones which you showed earlier where there are like it's like to the side you have just a silhouette type
Mm.
of thing, like, yeah, this one. So you can use both male and female, one male, one female.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you don't want to turn somebody off right before they get into the listing. Also wanted to just see if there's like an updated, simple one with a different styling, if that would get some clicks. So with this one, we actually asked 150 real shoppers, and this one came out on top, which is not a surprise, I guess, but makes a lot of sense because it's really upping the perceived quality as well too with the packaging 100% cotton right in your face. So the next step in testing, so once we have a winning concept, we want to rerun the baseline. So again, this was our baseline. We did get 27% of the clicks, but can we get even better? Can we like just dominate the search results? So we redid that baseline and updated it with where are we here? Oh, let me see. Let's go back to the polls. Let's see what the one. Let's see the new baseline. Okay, so this is the one. So this one. So basically, we launched the test again, and the only difference, right, is this new main image that Dorian came up with, right? we excluded people that saw the previous test. So that's key as well too, because they're biased. They've already seen all these options. They've kind of already made up their mind what they want to click. So these are fresh, new people. Again, the only difference we changed was the main image. And the results were pretty cool. So 61% of the people looking at this are going after this versus the other test we only had 24. So we won, but we won like by a marginal amount. Here we're just dominating the search results. So if we can push something like this through, it's very much looks like it would be not only could you dominate the clicks, I think you could up your pricing, and I think you'd be okay to do so.
But would customers be expecting a box?
Good question. So something I might my assumption is right now you don't put it in a box, it's just in a plastic
Yeah, because
wrap.
of the FBA costs and also the margins with these products are so few, you
Yeah.
can't afford to put it in a box.
So maybe what I would do is instead of it looking like a actual box, maybe it's like a header card. Maybe it's
Yeah,
something that's right, so we can kind of adjust it. And even if the product doesn't come with the actual header card, we should be okay. There might be the odd person that's like, "Hey, where's my piece of package, whatever." But most of the time you're okay as long as it's not like an extreme exaggeration of what they're
yeah,
expecting versus what you're giving them.
okay.
But some sort of header card might be okay. And then maybe even when you do package it in the future, literally a piece of paper or something in there that kind of shows this, maybe. Or the other idea is if we could get a really thin box, right? Then it just looks more giftable, and then you'll get more and then up the price, and then we have more purchases based on it being able to be giftable as something that they can present to. I mean, that's a whole other kind of strategy, or it's a different variation on the listing that comes with the gift box as well.
Box. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to explore, see what the cost of the box potentially could be. And as Matt said, launch a variation with the box, and brand it as a giftable item, because I think it's a cool gift also, buy it for someone. And if it comes with a box, cool box, like why not, I would buy it for Matt. He'll look,
Yeah.
he'll, he'll look cool in this red bandana.
I'd try to pull it off. I don't know if I could, but I would try just for you, Dorian. But yeah, that's that. So that was the big takeaway. I mean, there's a ton of obviously I'll share the links of these as well too, and it kind of you get real insights into shoppers of why they're picking which ones. But yeah, what was super interesting to me on this particular ASIN too is we looked at the ASIN when we first got it and we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do with this? Like, this is like it's just a bandana. Like, what are like, what can we actually do? And then when we actually started getting into it, started testing, I'm like, wow, there's actually quite a bit of things that you can actually put out there and test, right? At the end of the day, like Dorian says, these are all hypotheses. We might be wrong, but now at least we have the options to actually put it out there and see what's actually going to make more sales.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So let me share my screen. I've done a few things because I want to come from a slightly different angle to get people to look at things in a different way. So what I've been thinking about a lot lately, I've been in this industry now 10 years, and what I have noticed, a lot of the stuff that we do, and it's not a criticism, I'm just saying there's other things to consider as well, is when I look at a lot of images and approaches, it's very much of the essence of affiliate marketers, right? Like everything has an influence. Someone will do design that way, they'll do this way. And I think we have a lot of marketing and we rely heavy on words, right? And my concern is if we're starting with the text and working backwards, maybe we're starting in the wrong place, right? The focus is to sell products. That's end all be all, right? But I think we've also got to look at customers are not buying conversion rates and click-through rates. They're buying a product. The conversion rates and the click-through rates is what we measure. So if we tilt too heavy towards that, let me give you an example. If you go in, let's say you've got a premium product, okay? It's got in the text, all says premium. Now the customer's going to look at the images and look at the words. So if the images are not matching the words in the listing, what does it lack? Congruency. And this isn't at you, Melinda. This is not related to that. I'm just giving you a high level concept about how we think of stuff. So if our words and our images are not matching, it lacks congruency. It's the same as if someone says something but does another thing, right? You would look at their behavior and their actions to their words, and if they don't match, would you trust them? That's the question we've got to start asking ourselves as well, right? How are we looking at things strictly from a conversion point of view and words, or are we thinking of the customer? Because everything's weighted, right? Someone could be too technical, some people can be too brand led, some could be too design led, and the intersection we need to get to is, and it's hard with design, the intersection is it's part art, part science. And the point where it meets is where science and the art break even. Yeah? It's finding that aspect. And if you look at the brands on Amazon, meaning that started on Amazon and had a breakout, how many have we had that are household names outside of Zule Kitchen and maybe Anchor? Can you give me some names? Anyone? Bueller? Dorian? Matt? It's not a trick question, but outside of those two.
Not from the top of my mind.
Do you see what I mean? Because the goal is we're trying, the sellers are trying to build a big brand. Yes, they can't compete with the money of the big guys, right? They can't compete with them. But what entrepreneurs do, where they lack resources, one thing they don't lack is imagination, right? A lot of the brands that lead, if you look at someone like Zule Kitchen, we love that main image, right? And that one's quite busy, but it's a beautiful main image, you know, with a whisk. And people admire it, right? So they copy it. But if you look at the way imitation works, imitation generally what happens, if we were to go that way, is the only thing that separates you and everyone else is going to be your price. Do you understand where I'm going? If everyone looks the same, you see where I'm going with this? If everyone looks the same,
yeah,
it's a race to the bottom, right? And what I'm trying to say is we've got to look at the balance, the whole thing. Let's say that you start with the end in mind. What is the end in mind for your product? Do you start with a swing tag and back? Do you start with the words and back, or do you start with the product first? Because we talk about eating with the eyes. Isn't that true? Customers eat with their eyes. Mm-hmm. Is that true? Right. So if customers are eating with their eyes, and then you've got the big brands out there are doing what they're doing, and they're successful, do they all have call outs and swing tags? I'm not disputing swing tags or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, do they have all those elements on their images? Or is it something we've created in our own community to get ahead? A hack? Do you see where I'm going? So what I'm looking at the moment is what else can we do to expand the horizon? And one of the things that Dorian mentioned earlier on is generating assets. Okay? AI is now great for when you've got human in the loop. Look at what Dorian's generated, assets and ideas. If you've got assets, you've got something to work with to try different ideas. If your product is not working, are you changing the swing tag as an example, right? Are you filling up more pixel space? Because if you look at some of the search results, the goal is to stop the scroll. Isn't that true? Right? Does that mean that every image has to fill up every pixel? What about camera angles? What about bringing the product to life? If you notice a lot of at the top photography from the and you can do this with prompts, and I'm going to show you some stuff in a minute. It might just be that we've got to look at a different perspective, a different angle, right? So if I give you some examples in terms of for what you can do for prompting, you've got front angle, you've got profile side angle, and I'll share all this. You've got the angle shot between 25 and 75 degrees. You've got the flat lay angled overhead. You've got the macro shot. You've got the hero shot with the low angle, looking up. You've got the Dutch angle. You've got basic viewpoints. So there's a one where you kind of come in underneath, and you've got low shots. You've got high shots. You've got eye level shots. Okay, I'll carry on going. Then you've got back view, depends on what image, if it's off the main image, right? Then you've got a component view. Then you've got the up view of a single shot at an angle. You've got your feature callouts. You've got your point of view shots. I'll bring them up on the screen in a minute. Sometimes we can look at it, and if we've got the one image, sometimes it's an angle that makes all the difference. Some products can pop out the page, and there's more ways to stop the scroll. So I'm going to play this video. Let me share this screen, okay? And this will give you an idea of just running a series of ideas, because the thing is, if you generate ideas, you're not going to fall short. If you repeat the same thing over and over again, what did Einstein say?
The definition
First sign
of
of madness,
insanity.
yeah, is to do the same thing over and over again. So sometimes with the way the market is out there, and we know that margins are tight and stuff like that, sometimes it takes a radical change to think outside of the box to get things moving. And sometimes it's just not going to happen, right? So let me just bring up the video and let me know. Can you see the screen all right?
Yep.
Yep.
So long, I'm here to answer your call. I know that I shouldn't have had you waiting that long. I've been so busy, but I've been thinking about what I wanna do with you. I know the other guys that I'm talking about the way that you and I do. They heard I was good, they wanna see if it's true. They know you're the one I wanna give it to. Can see you on me too. That was me and you. And baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it. I've been waiting. When I make that move now, baby, tell me how you like it. I've been waiting. Tell me if you like it. I've been waiting. I've been waiting. what I wanna do. Now it's me and you. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you baby, tell me how you like it. Now, I've been waiting.
Okay, so if you noticed on all of those images, there's no words on them yet, right? There's no words on them. So they're not complete images that will go into the listing, but it give you a demonstration of there will be stuff in there that will help stop the scroll if they're created in such a way and placed with the right wording to support them. Dorian, you're the main image expert here. You've stopped the scroll all the time. Give me your feedback. Give me pushback. I'm inviting the pushback.
Well, let's start with the good stuff. Like, well, I've already seen what you've done, and you already mentioned the fact that and I've said this many times also, is the fact that what AI allows us to do is start from bottom up, so generate assets, and then based on deduction, on either experience or testing, like Product Opinion, see which of these assets, right, speak to our customers. And that's great about AI, and what you've done is, generated a lot of ideas, and let's now start deducting instead of previously 10 years before we had to work on, bottom up and generate those assets manually. So that's a great thing. And I think, with products like the bandana, you have a lot of leverage here where you can, it's a fashion item, it's a fashion accessory. So you can actually use a lot of assets that don't especially need any type of wording, but show the product in a specific manner that's interested for the end audience. I think that with a mixture of still some information that's crucial, those boring infographics with our versus others and all of this weird tags. We still need a little bit of that. We still do, because we're dealing with Amazon customer who's usually they're used to a certain type of information on the listing. So I think what you've done with the mixture of regular approach is the way to go.
Yeah. See, the goal there was nothing more than the easy part is putting the text on the image. Let's be honest, right? That's the easy bit. And we're saying that customers eat with their eyes. And if that's the case, the goal is to generate an emotional reaction for the customer to buy. Yeah, but just generally speaking. So let me just bring up the listing. Now, what I did here is there's also the elements in design as well where I made changes. See, what I did is I took the images from the listings and stripped some of these back, right? Now look at the images here, right? Look at the guy and look at the lady there, right? So we've got the color being separated in the background here, right? And we've got the color separated in here, and there's a bit of text here. It looks fine, right? And with him, he's got a white t-shirt on. So you've got the red here. And then if you look at the t-shirt, we're talking about standing out in different ways, right? So what the goal here, as I can see, is with a red bandana, that is the centerpiece that we're going for. So we want that to stand out. Totally get that. So let me give you a different perspective for that. Let me just share another tab. Let's go to the gallery here. All right. Now I'm going to come back to the colors at the top. Now, what you can see here is it's been shot, the shot is at a different angle. And this is what I was saying about other ways of stopping the scroll, is that sometimes it's just the positioning of the, not just, but part of making your images stand out is having them positioned in an angle that makes them look bigger, right? Because sometimes a flat profile isn't always going to work as well as other ways, yeah? So it's experimenting, you know, things like, it's not a natural shadow, but having some shadow there as well. Now, if you understand about design and you actually look at the brands that we all admire and the photographers and stuff like that, white space is there for a reason. Yeah. The white space is actually part of hierarchy of design. The white space is what's created around the product to put the product to center stage. So white isn't a crime. Not saying you should do it on every listing and not saying you shouldn't have props. But there are other things you can think about, right? Now, I cleaned back on these images here because I can make slight adjustment to current images. For instance, let's just go and see if I've got them here as an example. So here I've cleaned back here on this one. I want to see where he is with the, it might not be in this folder because I've got two folders. Look, now what I've done, if you look, is it's the same guy, but he's wearing different color t-shirts to help with part of that essence of standing out, right? I know that we're all marketers, but not everyone sits in the mainline red of stuff, right? And then when you're dealing with fashion, clean space, like this is stuff that creates also elegance, right? If you look at, let's say that you go to a high-end fashion store. Let's say fashion is your thing, right? If the guy or the girl in there are like double glazing window salespeople chasing you around the store, what do you think of that brand? It doesn't fit with elegance and premium, does it? Does that make sense? So we got to think between, are we stopping the scroll or are we begging? The other thing we've got to look at is if you look at banners 20 years ago, they were designed to stop the scroll and now they're dead, right? Because at some point it gets so loud on the page, the only way to stop the scroll is to have space. I'm just trying to get people to think differently. If everyone's screaming, who's being heard? No one, right? It's going to be an eyesore for the customer. So the intent to stop the scroll is important. The intent is to capture their attention. The intent is get them to eat with their eyes. The intent is to get them to buy, right? But if you've got images where every image looks the same as each other, and then one comes along and it's got some space in there, that is going to get their attention as well, because it stops the scroll from the sheer fact that the headache that they was getting on the page, now they can breathe again. So what I'm trying to say is that there's two sides of stopping the scroll. And that's stuff worth testing also, yeah? So with the images, there's just loads of stuff generated, because when you're making videos, look, see this one here, that's the white, and then I did one where the t-shirt's ribbed. Just little details sometimes is what makes the difference. People don't always drink from a fire hose when it comes to buying stuff, right? For some people, detail do matter. Design does matter, right? And I know we get a lot of people will say pretty doesn't convert, but most of those people that say that, look at their design. It's because they can't design and they're wordsmiths, right? They may be really good with a pen, okay? A perfect example of that, the affiliate marketing industry isn't designed for premium, it's designed for conversion from a certain type of person. And that's not a shade on anyone, right? But you don't get Apple using the same marketing as affiliate marketers for their product, because it's not a fit for that audience. Do you see what I mean? We talk about looking at the customer. We talk about how do we get the attention of the right customer, who is our target audience. Now, what we've got to remember is there's different types and styles of marketing. They're not just, driven by copy. Some are visual as well. And that's what I want to try and get across to people as well, is that if something's not working for you, you've got to go into the creative process and just generate as much quality stuff as possible. And in there, like Dorian says, 90% of this stuff I generated will be on what we call the cutting room floor. It doesn't make the cut, right? But if you start with 50 versus 20, and I'm not talking about generating necessarily with N8N, unless, you know, you've got some control over the parameters. But I think if we're going to look at how things are going for us in the community, we must admit it's tough out there for people. So sometimes a radical change will help you shift in the right direction. And so that's where I'm kind of coming from, is like, if we're going to look and we say that customers eat with our eyes, where do we start? Do we start with our eyes, but eyes in terms of the text on the image, or do we start with what is going to resonate with the customer? Where are they going to get the emotional contact? Of course, you're going to put your words on your images. That's a given. But do we prioritize that over the customer experience? So these are all the questions that we can ask ourselves. And that's all where I'm kind of coming from. So, Miranda,
Yeah.
we'll bring you in. Sorry, because I've said enough now, but I just want to get people to think from 360, from different angles, so they can all win. That's my end goal.
Yeah. So what do you want me to say?
Well, where do you sit with the items that you got? I've got one of your amazing scarves. You gave it to me at Seller Sessions 2 years ago. You do really, really good products. What have you found that works for you in terms of the fashion items?
I think we got different sort of quality of products. The product which I gave you, I think that was made in Italy or in Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
And in those products, we are not competing with almost anybody on Amazon, because there is hardly any scarf which is made in Italy on Amazon. And honestly, I think, I don't remember which, I think there was some episode from your podcast as well, and I totally agreed with that, in the sense, like, I think when you are selling an expensive product, so you can't expect to be ranking on page 1 for every keyword, because
Yeah.
we can spend all the money we have on men's scarves on Amazon, but if majority of customers are looking for a 10 pounds or a 15 pounds or a 20 pounds scarf, they're not gonna spend 40, 50, 60 pounds on a merino scarf which is made in Italy or made in Europe somewhere. So I think that's the reason we do have two totally different kind of product ranges as well. And I think it's always good to experiment with images. I'm thankful that Dorian, Matt, and you have generated so many things for me to look at. And I think in terms of product on Amazon, I personally don't make my mind up till we launch it, because you never know what you're gonna find out when you launch on Amazon. Like this product was not on our list to launch at all. I was like, somebody offered me stock which was lying in their warehouse and said, help me out to sell this stock because I'm stuck. I said, okay, I don't think this will work, because people are selling for £2.50, and we're not gonna make any money and just lose it. And then he said, okay, I'm gonna throw them away anyway, so can you just try it? I think that's how it started. And we started 250 actually, this particular product, and we lost a lot of money first month, and I think we kept losing 4, 5, 6 months. And then I suddenly thought, you know what, it's not worth it, let's put the price up to £5 and see what happens.
Yeah.
And we improved our images after that little bit to go with the price as well. And I thought, we were using same layout as everybody else, and we thought, okay, you know what, just drop it. So I think it's all about experiment and just trying things out and find where your product fit on the Amazon ecosystem. There are like with this product, I think I was wrong, because when I launched it, I thought it's a Me Too product, no selling point, no USP. People are selling for £2.50. We can't compete with them. But then slowly we got it to a point now where we are profitable. And again, it's not like huge margin product. I still think even now, if I need to go again, I probably would not launch it, because I think it's quite a difficult one to rank and sell at a profit. But yeah, so I think we got two different product ranges as such. Then I got a third product range which is totally different, which are the licensed products. They are totally different ball game, because on those products you are not really competing with anybody on Amazon, because you got the rights owners sort of copyright and everything. So I think every product is, I see every product as different in terms of price range and what you can do with the images as well. So I think that's my take on it. But I got few ideas from today's discussion as well. I think it will be quite interesting to see if those things can make another small difference. It's a high sales volume product we sell in US as well, so any small difference can actually make a big impact overall on the listing.
Yeah, I mean, we were stuck. Sorry, Matt, go on.
No, I was just gonna add, yeah, like I think, especially I wanted to emphasize what Danny was saying earlier too. Like, it's all about selling the experience, right? If you can differentiate with not just like little, yeah, obviously we have our tricks, like little hang tag, this, that, but if everyone does that, then you just fall into the sea of sameness again. But just wanted to show, because I don't think Danny showed off some of these images as well, like that he, like these are badass, right? Like imagine having like this is one of Danny's images that he generated. Imagine having that in your listing, right? Where you're just like, yeah, I wanna party with her. I want to be at the sure, like I want that experience, right? At the end of the day, it's selling that experience. And then when you have that type of experience, then yeah, pricing is just a number. Like you can kind of like creep it up even more. So my big hunch with this is like, if we update the images, not just the main image, but the secondary images to sell that experience, then yeah, up the price, make it more, get more profit in there, because it is a very even at £5, I don't know how it's making profit, but yeah, I feel like there's an opportunity.
Ask me about that. But I think what we're doing as well now, which we haven't yet implemented in the listing. So these are kind of generic designs, which are like sort of evergreen designs. So we are working with the fashion designer in UK to come up with some different, more sort of fashion touch to the designs as well. So we might launch another variations in the same listing with sort of a little bit differentiation on the design aspect.
Do you know there's two other things I should mention? I haven't managed to generate them, but I will. Is your two biggest priorities. I run my Rufus agent, and the two things that pops up, 90% of the feedback was great. The number one is the barrier to entry is people are not sure about sizes and whether they would fit. So they need more guidance on dimensions, okay? That's men and women. And then a minor one is, and I can generate that for you as well. Just give me some words and then I can write the logic for it. But color and fading and fraying over time. So I just need to work out how I can visualize those customer objections for you. The first one's kind of easy, but do you have any, because it's not an area of my domain knowledge, but obviously people will tie on bandanas differently to each other. So what defines a fit? It's not a cap, right? Where you've got an adjustable on the back, or a hat that you buy that comes in certain sizes. The bandana can pretty much fit on most people's head, but it depends how you want it to sit, right?
So how we want to address that is, so these new designs we are creating. So this one is 50 by 50 centimeters, which is a standard size of bandana on the market due to one or other reason. we are now the new designs we are creating. We're gonna launch a new size variation on the same listing. It would be 70 by 70, which
Yeah.
is not like sort of maximum sales volume in terms of the size, but I think that will give those people another option where if somebody might have a little bit bigger head size and they might want to try the larger size, or some people who want to use it as a neck scarf, they would have an option to go for a bigger size as well.
Okay. Why don't you, after the show later, send me some details and then I'll come up with some images and I'll give them to the boys as well. Because I
Yeah.
think we will be able to visualize that. We just got to come with the right concept to get it over. I mean, we can do it flat and you can have, mark it out that it's like a call out and pointing arrows. But what if we can try and do something slightly different? Not novelty, but look at it from a different perspective. So when they do see that image, it's more than just a flat design. So I can work on that and kick around some ideas.
What was the second one you mentioned?
The second one is quality around, does it fray? Is how do we counter? They're not sure whether the material is going to last based on what they're seeing in the images. So they're only
Yeah, so
guessing. They're not.
yeah, so this one should not fray actually, the way it is stitched and finished. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy counter, right? The reason it doesn't fray is that how do we present that? We were able to have some over image text to
Yeah.
kind of articulate that.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I can generate a load of different angles on the close up as well, right? So we
yeah,
can
yeah,
do from the edge of it.
yeah,
But yeah, that will be one. And the real big one is going to be finding a way to present dimensions that is universally accepted. When the person looks at the image, it captures that
yeah,
moment of, okay, now I know that is going to work for me. Because it was saying that people because what I do is I run the agent and it goes back and forth conversations with Rufus. So it's instructed to do certain things, but it also, if there's a point in the conversation to dig deeper, I get it to dig deeper as well, right? To carry on that path. And
yeah,
so the feedback on it is pretty much that, is that people will add it to cart, but then stop and then have a think about it because they're unsure whether it's going to fit.
yeah, because we have seen also in our the brand analytics and also the advertisement reports, there are not huge search volume, but there are people searching for large size bandanas or a different size than a standard. So I think maybe us launching on the same listing but under a different variation with the two size offerings might help address that, because people will then know, okay, if I want standard size, then it's this one, but if I want a little bigger, then I got this offer as well.
Yeah, that would probably help just by having the variations. It differentiates for people in
Yeah,
terms of size there, right?
exactly.
All right. Well, look, it's come up, just gone over the hour mark. Final words from Dorian, then Matt, and then any final words you have, Menenda, as well.
Go on, Matt.
Sure. Yeah. No. So I was just gonna say, like, I mean, it's every time we do this, it's amazing. I really like how we went from like, hey, how are we going to differentiate this bandana? Like, what can we do, to now, oh my gosh, we have so many ideas. How are we going to test all these, right? So once you get into it, it's always good that you have options to test. And bottom line, and also like what Danny was saying and Dorian says all the time too, is like sell the experience, sell the outcome, and show and as much as you can, don't just tell. Makes a big difference for getting the clicks and conversion. So yeah, no, I'm really excited that we were able to like actually come up with some solid things that we can test on
It
this.
was a struggle, though. That's the thing. That's why I went out on the limb as well. It's like, what do you do? And there's so many different ways, because the research I did, from the UK and the US, but it is high street fashion brands and the magazines, the fashion magazines, Cosmopolitan, all doing editorial on their back in fashion with certain hairstyles as well. So that's why I kind of thought if I lean that way, I know that you guys wouldn't necessarily lean that way. And then we've got a spread, haven't we? Because at the end of the day, we're here to provide idea generation. And then the domain knowledge expert, i.e. the brand owner, can take it off in the direction that they wish, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
I'll say one thing. You know, you see this process, man in there, and you know everyone's that watching. When we're trying to optimize the current listing, a lot of the times the brands that we work with realize that this process should have been done before we launch the product, to validate ideas and come up with ideas. And if you do that, if you know come up with concepts, do your research in terms of reviews, analysis, reviews, go on Product Opinion and do all the objections, all the baseline tests. Imagine having all that information before you launch the product. Two things will happen. One, you either pull the plug and say, okay, that actually doesn't make sense because you know we need to do X and Y in order to win this category. Or two, you're going to come up with something that's going to make your product differentiate. And you're going to have a full strategy for your listing, a product with differentiation, probably ideas for main images before you launch. So one thing, you know, we're talking about conversions, but this is not just a conversion increasing workflow. This is a product launching workflow as well. So I just wanted to say that. And we do that a lot of times with our clients right now when they realize, guys, I wish I've done this before we launched. And they do it. And we've seen some very successful launches.
Yeah, and it's going to save a lot of pain and money long term if you can just do this part. It's so cheap now. I mean, let me have a look how much I've spent on all these images. It's probably no more than about £3, including all the videos. Let me just go to my settings. 16.89, but that isn't just on this project here. That is for 485 images and 26 videos. I spent $16.89. And that's with other stuff as well. I probably spent $4 to $5 max on this.
Yeah.
So
sorry, go on.
Go on.
I just
Go on,
wanted to say Product Opinion will be the most expensive, but you can email Matt and he's giving away 90% discounts, what I heard. No, honestly, but it's you know, even if it costs you like $1,000 or you know whatever it is, or you know even more or less, few $100, it's so much worth it because you know, as I said, you either pull the plug and you don't waste that money, or you have a massive advantage. And so just do a lot of that stuff before you launch the product. Don't imitate, come with a strong foot through the door and just smash it, or just say, okay, no, not this one, next one.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys, thank you for joining us. I'll be back here next week. Hope you enjoyed the show and you see some benefits there. Dorian and I will be seeing some of you guys in a few weeks for the AI workshop. Myself, Dorian and Sim. We've got a lot of stuff that is lined up that, we're going to unload in the vault, shall we say. There's me and Dorian's going to have a chat after the call. There's so much we want to pack in, but there's only so many hours in the day. But without further ado, we'll say goodbye, and I'll be back here next week. So take care of yourself and your family. Much love, and I'll see you again soon.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Cool.
We did it. We